This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. Today we're focused on a concept that we've shared on numerous occasions called hedging. What is hedging? And why do you want to do it now? Is the show for today. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy the show, would like great ideas for trading and investing, please join us. It is also a support to the channel and much appreciated. So, as you notice, Tesla has now gotten into the 235 zone. We're now, the apex of this couple of weeks has been about 243 for the stock price. Now, before we started all of this, what we pointed out to you over the last few weeks is that it's my belief Tesla's in a sine curve or a reverse sine curve. So as you know, a sine curve kind of goes like that. Reverse sine curves, if you look at the sine curve and flip it up, that's kind of the zone I believe Tesla has entered as a trading zone. So one of the things that we did was when Tesla's stock price was at 260, we recommended that you do some hedging. And the target number for that hedge was about 5% of your portfolio. Now, if you had done the hedging that we recommended, your 5% of your portfolio, when the stock price dropped to 195, you could have sold that hedge and now have had a nice profit. And then the stock price obviously rose back up. Now, this show is kind of targeting our large investors, that's 500,000 and up in terms of how much stock you own. Now, why did we recommend this to you? Well, the thing is that when Tesla was at 260 and we didn't know what was going to happen, there were pretty much two things that were going to happen with Tesla's stock price post earnings. A, down 10 to 15%, which is what happened, or B, up 10 to 15%. It tends not to be a sideways moving stock unless it's over a decent amount of time, as we're seeing now. So now that we're almost back to 250, and I think the entry of the Cybertruck will get us into the late 250s, early 260s. The question is, something is going to happen, which is the people that get their cars are going to be super excited, and the list will grow longer for the number of buyers, A, or B, it'll go the opposite way. One of the suggestions that's come from Elon is that at the front end, he will be in a tough spot in terms of margins on these vehicles, and therefore it's going to affect Tesla stock price, in theory, negative. But the beauty of already owning Tesla shares and having them hedged is you make money regardless of what happens. So, for example, if you're at 5% of your portfolio and you're hedged, if the stock price rises, you make money on the ownership of your shares. On the other hand, if the stock price falls and falls hard, let's say back into the 200 range or slightly below, maybe even lower than that, no problema, because the 5% of your portfolio you use to buy those puts will now put you in a position to make money on the puts. And as the stock recovers over the next 6 months or a year, or whatever that period is, you now regain in the value of your shares. So this is why we're having our hedge day today as a way to look at our large investors, what they're doing with their money, and things to consider. So I, in general, am of the feeling that I think that all the negativity about the Cybertruck has been wrung out. And I think that, even if they don't make any money, you got to admit that Tesla's revenue is growing by the amount of sales of that Cybertruck. So the next thing I'd like to cover is one of the focuses of what we do is there are all these constituencies. So there's this group, this group, this group. Part of your job as an investor is to understand certainly what you think and your friends, but also think about what the large institutions that buy and sell shares are thinking. Also, think about what the hedge funds are thinking and doing, because those are fairly large constituencies and their movements will affect your ability to make any kind of money or lose a lot of money. All the above can occur. So what I wanted to suggest here is that I think there's going to be some movement of Tesla's stock price. In general, I think it's going to be upward only because we've already wrung out the margins aren't going to be great. But when you start adding 200,000 vehicles a year, that's a nice bump in revenue specifically that you didn't have before. So the other thing that I think is kind of a sneaky way that the semi will affect, or the Cybertruck will affect things, is you have increasing revenue. So your costs across certain parts of that vehicle are going to be lower because you have more vehicles moving through the company. So in general, what I want to argue is that this is a great time to own Tesla shares because we have increasing revenue in a tough market associated with the Cybertruck. If we get a little bit on the lucky side, the demand for the Cybertruck will really spike, particularly as Elon gives us, I want to say, the low rent version where we don't use so much expensive steel and we just use the aluminum that we already have in-house. That Cybertruck is a 50 to 60 grand vehicle, not the one that's coming out, which is going to be 80 to 90 to 100. The other thing that I see occurring here is that I believe we're in the zone right now where we're going to see pleasant surprises that are profitable. And the biggest one I'm thinking about is there's a whole bunch of camping gear and all these knickknacks that Tesla and Elon plan to offer to give flexibility for that vehicle. And that's exciting because this is extra revenue that has more of a chance of getting us to profit. So the overall idea for the show today is please be aware of hedging principles. As we close on 250, be ready to hedge. The other thing I wanted to encourage you to be aware of is that, yes, Cybertruck's going to affect things. And the final thing to be aware of is the reverse sine curve process. I believe the apex of Tesla stock price is that first week of December. And I think the bottom of that curve during the quarter is going to be at production and sales, but particularly because I think China's numbers are going to be horrible, but it won't matter because we have the Cybertrucks moving and we have demand in other places like Australia and Europe that can sop up the issues that China may be having in terms of sales, even if production is rising. So we look forward very much to your comments on this. We want to next move to our health tips. Just a reminder, 25 legless a day. But today I specifically want to remind you we're in the holiday period. Prior to lovemaking, only a salad. Why? Because the blood flow to your stomach messes up blood flow to other parts of your body. So by just doing a light salad, you will now have more energy and blood flow where you want it to be at that critical moment. So that's our tip for today. There are more tips down below. And we look forward to you taking time out to just drop a quick hello or comment. It would be appreciated. Once again, thanks for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, au revoir, le hitro, hoda hafez, ni hao ma, konbanwa, namaste, arrivederci. And in Jamaica, we say, no respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.